Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Midday Live with me, AC Benewa Nyami. Ahead in the headlines. Authorities at the University of Education Winneba reopen all the university's campuses. Ghana's national blood unit low on supplies, below the 130 units required daily. We'll look at how we can collectively improve on voluntary and paid blood donation in Ghana. And coming up in international news, Cuban government denounced U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to roll back on policy changes towards the island nation. Details shortly. Now let's move on to our very first story. And authorities at the University of Education Winneba have reopened the university's campuses. Authorities at the University of Education Winneba closed down all the school's campuses following a court ruling indicating that some actions taken by the school's council were illegal. A private citizen, Supi Kofi Kwaira, in May sued the University of Education and the Education Ministry for University of Winneba and the Education Ministry for unlawful extension of the school's governing council's tenure. Well, now let's speak with Steve Van Kamasa, who is the Deputy Registrar in charge of the Division for Publications and Communications at the University of Education Winneba. Hello, good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon.
Well, so first of all, why was the campuses of University of Education Winneba closed if the judge did not give such orders?
Yeah, the university was closed down after we went to court on Tuesday this week to respond to a summons from one Supi Kofi Kwaira seeking some release and an injunction. So when we left court on Tuesday, we were under the impression that the court had granted the release being sought by the plaintiff in the injunction, by injunction. So in court, this matter was discussed about the university complying with certain directives. So that triggered the meeting that the university committee held and closed the university. However, when we went back to court on Friday, all of us were told in open court that there was no injunction, there was no directive given by the judge. And the court documents also revealed that there was nothing as was supposed to be. So we have to come back and open the school because ab initio there was no directive that our principal officers should be restrained from doing their work.
Well, so now you have indicated that you're back. We want to find out whether full academic activities are ongoing.
Yes, as I have said earlier on, we had some postgraduate students who are doing their project work. And we have some foreign students and our partners are also on campus doing some work. All these are going on. Meanwhile, the admission processes and interviews are also going on for new entrants who will be coming in September. And we are also expecting our sandwich programs to also begin July 12th.
But would you say that the closure of the school will affect some of these processes in any way?
Oh, no, the closure, lasted for only 3 days. So we are not in any way affected by this action. The calendar will still, run as it should run.
Thanks for that clarification. I have been speaking with Steve Van Kamasa, and he is the Deputy Registrar in charge of the Division for Publications and Communications at the University of Education, Winneba. This is still Midday Live. Let's move on to some other stories. And government is engaging some security experts to identify ways of addressing the issue of mob injustice in the country. The Interior Minister Ambrose Derry said this on the sidelines of a work and visit to the National Disaster Management Organization, NIDMO.
The death of Major Adam Mahama of the Ghana Armed Forces through mob action, though not the first of its kind in Ghana, has become an eye-opener to the people of Ghana. This has drawn the attention of the government to act swiftly to put an end to the act, which has claimed a lot of innocent lives.
We want to make use of all the human resources that we have, starting from the experts. You have them. You have Dr. Enin, you have Dr. Anchidanso, you have Akwete, Civil Society Bombandi, who have the know-how. We have the Kofi Annan Center that has specialists in that. We are now inviting them to come down and be part of us in the implementation process.
On his visit to the headquarters of the National Disaster Management Organization, members of staff were given the opportunity to voice out their challenges. It was revealed the organization has an outstanding debt of 37 million cedis and for the past years has not been able to implement any of its strategies due to the lack of funds and logistics. Currently, about 85% of the vehicles at the organization's headquarters are not functioning. It was established that at the district offices, not even a single vehicle is working. The Director General, Eric Nana Ajman Prempe, pleaded with the government to resource the entity.
The request for relief items throughout the country, I don't know the kind of calculator that can be used to calculate it. It is too much on us. The relief item request, there's disaster everywhere, all over the country, and we don't have relief items. Quite recently, when I had to tour the 4 coastal regions, we had to borrow rice from some company before we were able to go to the aid of some of the regions.
The minister promised to quickly facilitate their request to enable them serve the country effectively. The organization says it will soon establish a training school to retrain officers to improve on their performance to deal with the management of disasters.
And the Director General of Police Operations, COP, Christian Tete Yoonu, has called for public support by volunteering information to track down criminals. He said a spate of targeted killings is isolated cases which the service has devised strategies to deal with.
The Tema Regional Police Command has for some time now been recording unexplained killings of targeted persons. The criminals behind these acts also aim at police personnel either on duty or in transit to or from work. In this quarter, 2 police personnel have been killed, with the last occurring on Monday, June 12. But the Director General of Police Operations, COP Christian Tete Yoonu, says there is no cause for an alarm.
You hear people moving to airports in advanced countries to attack them. How did it happen? So despite all the securities we put in place, there's always a way out for somebody with a wicked mind to do whatever he wants to do.
COP Yohunu's response came during a fact-finding tour of the regional command. Prior to his visit, the regional police acting on intelligence had gunned down one Alasan Adams, aka Dogo America, 33, believed to be behind the killing of the policeman on Monday and the leader of a notorious land guard and robbery gang in Ashaiman. According to the intelligence, suspected members of Alasan's armed robbery gang were gathered at Aviation No. 7, Washington, Ashaiman. The police said the robbers, upon seeing the police, opened fire whilst fleeing on a motorbike. They were pursued into a building which turned out to be the house of Dogo America. There were one each of AK-47 and SMG rifles, which were being serviced on the veranda of the house. The police said Alhassan Adams, aka Dogo America, suddenly dropped from his ceiling armed with an SMG rifle, fully loaded, ready to kill, but was outsmarted. 4 other suspects were also arrested. Dogo America was later pronounced dead at the hospital. He was on police record for jumping court bail in a number of cases, including robberies, possession of firearms, attempted murder, causing harm, and use of offensive weapons. 1 AK-47 rifle, 2 SMG rifles, a dagger, a pair of pliers, 2 screwdrivers, and 12 rounds of live ammunition were also retrieved from the scene. The public is therefore urged to partner the police by volunteering information to track down other criminals in the area.
So let's look at how best we can deal with our security challenges. And I am joined by Emmanuel Kutin, and he is the Executive Director at the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. And he joins me via Skype. And I will also be joined by Justin Bayen later on the same issue about security. So good afternoon and thanks so much. Mr. Kutin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to your cherished viewers.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks so much. So police assurance that there is no need for fear of crime and panic in the country, especially within Tema metropolis, following recent spate of robberies there. Should we be concerned or trust the police, what they have told us?
Thank you. In fact, I think the call is in the right direction by the Director General of the Police Service, COP Yawono. Yeah. But you see, the buck still lies with the police. I think it is in their interest to deepen the relationship between them and the communities. Because if this relationship is not deepened, they will not be able to gather any information they are looking for. And I am always of the view that our police service can do better. And oftentimes, we tend to really criticize them without looking at the logistics that are available to them. So I will urge us to also look at the debate about equipping our service personnel to be able to deliver and deliver well. Over the period, I must admit that the public trust in our security service has seriously waned. And I'm just urging the Inspector General of Police to restore the integrity of the
Emmanuel.
service to its former glory.
Mr. Kutin, yeah. Sorry to cut you, but I would like you to position yourself very well so that we have a clearer picture of you. It's a bit.
Can you hear me very well?
Yes, thank
now?
you.
Yes, I was talking about the need for the new Inspector General of Police to, as a matter of agency, put pragmatic steps in place in deepening the relationship that once existed between our police service and our communities. You know, police work generally is by intelligence. If they don't deepen such a relationship, they will not be able to be proactive in preventing some of the things we are witnessing. We will only have things happening, and after that, we are blaming each other. So I think that the police call is a good one, but much work is on them to go back to the communities as it has always been the case. I must admit that over time, we have really criticized the police, but I must also say there are some very hard-working men and women in uniform. I think the debate now has to do with logistics. You realize that more often than not, where there is an incident and you go to the police station, there is either no car to go to the crime scene or other excuses. So I think that the debate should move. I'm not saying the police service are 100%.
Issue, Emmanuel, the issue about the police and the community trust. You have said that previously, you know, there was much trust. What has happened? Why is it that now we find it difficult trusting, you know, communities find it difficult trusting the police and ensuring that, their concerns are well addressed in their various communities?
I think it's two things. One, some of the policemen and women became so unprofessional. And it has to do with the systems we use in recruiting our men and women. We get miscreants into the service. And if you recall, some few months or few years back, you had policemen who were involved in armed robbery and that kind of thing. The second had to do with we not engaging civil society organizations. Let me tell you, I have always maintained that civil society organization, no doubt, is a force to reckon with, and they will be the fourth arm of government because they are at the community level. And the earlier our security agencies partner with some of them, the better. You heard the Interior Minister said he's now going to engage civil security experts. And no doubt, these security experts are leading organizations that are non-governmental in nature.
Okay.
So it's a good beginning, and let's see how it goes.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Emmanuel Kutin, and he is the Executive Director at the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism, speaking to us on how best we can deal with our security challenges. This is still Midday Live. Let's move away from security issues, and the introduction of the rapid bus transport system BRT, known as Ayalolo buses, to reduce travel hours on busy areas of the capital is struggling to serve its intended purpose. The Ayalolo buses lack patronage as they compete with Trotro and also lack the interest by commuters due to low education. As part of government's efforts to improve transportation services within Accra, the rapid bus transport system was introduced. Dedicated lanes and bus stops were earmarked for the free movement of these buses to serve its intended purpose. The transport system, modeled on the already running Trotro system, is now facing challenges on its dedicated lanes and bus stops. The buses plying the Amasaman of Fankor Achimota Accra corridor currently is running on 48 buses instead of 86 buses, and there is a need to enhance the system. The Chief Executive Officer of the Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive, GAPTE, Mr. Samson Jamra, speaking to the media after a tour of the Achimota and the Ofankor bus terminals, though was encouraged with the services provided by the buses so far, but admitted there were some challenges to be overcome.
We still have a long way to go to be able to break even, yes. We are ramping up the passenger numbers, and that is the real challenge. The most important thing about running this kind of operations is sustainability. And we want to reduce revenue leakage as much as possible. The card system is a much better system in terms of controlling your revenue leakages. And that's why we're using the card system. We think with time and with education, we'll get more people to come around to understanding how to use the card system.
A ticketing agent, Samuel de Graft Bwedi, with the Achimota bus stop, said more needed to be done to whip up the interest of people to patronize the services of the Ayalolo buses.
The patronizing now, it's better, but not the best. I would like the government to help us to advertise more.
The clarion call, donate blood and save lives, seems not to be garnering the needed response. Ghana on Wednesday joined the world to mark World Blood Donor Day, and Odelia Ajuman Prempe reports the national blood unit is low, below the 130 units required daily.
It's another day at the National Blood Service where blood shortages no longer attract news headlines. The blood bank has only 56 units available, a situation which could have dire consequences should there be an emergency. 130 units of blood, we're told, is required daily. The blood bank relies on voluntary donations to shore up stock. On a daily basis, 10 people voluntarily donate blood. The World Health Organization aims to obtain all blood supplies from voluntary and paid donors by all countries by 2020. But it seems there is not much education in Ghana on the relevance of donating blood. The theme for this year's World Blood Donor Day is Blood Connects Us All.
And let's do more discussions on the issue about blood and how people can voluntarily walk into facilities and donate blood without expecting anything, from the facility. And I have been joined by David Ahiajro, and he is the Acting Donor Services Management National Blood Services Ghana. Good afternoon. Thanks for your time.
Good afternoon.
Well, so I was asking earlier on whether we are in a crisis situation as a country when it comes to blood.
Well, we are not in a crisis situation, but we are also not in a comfortable situation. Partly due to the fact that blood, when it's donated, have a short shelf life. Within 35 days, it should be used or it goes bad. So day in, day out, there is that constant need for people to donate blood to make it available so that whoever requires blood will be saved.
Well, so 60% of blood supply at the National Blood Service, currently we are told that it's family replacement donor. Is this in line with the WHO requirement?
Well, this is not in line with the WHO requirement at all. The WHO requires that at least countries should rely on about 70% from voluntary unpaid blood sources. But what we are experiencing currently in the country now is that majority of blood is actually coming from family replacement donors, which doesn't speak well of us. That means a lot of pressure is on the system to make sure that the blood that is donated is safe for whoever might need it, and also it's also actually a form of a hidden commercialized system of assault, because families will be under pressure to look for people to donate blood for them, and a lot of things can actually go wrong. Well,
so looking at the trend, is it possible that Ghana can meet the agenda 2020 where we have to have the 100% free blood donation?
Yes, that can only be possible if we all join hands to make sure that it should be possible, because as you know, blood can only be gotten from people who are willing.
Now the question is, can we, you are coming from that facility, and the number of people that come in, so I want to find out if it is possible that
yes,
we
okay, we have put in place different kinds of program interventions geared towards actually achieving same. And our prayer and belief is that by 2020 we should be actually heading there. But to be candid with you, we will be doing something, but we'll probably get to, let's say, 80 or 90% by 2020. And I think that will be fair if we are able to get there.
So with regards to, encouraging people, how well have you gone with the people?
Yes, with regards to encouraging people to donate, we try to make use of any available source that we get, i.e. the media. Also, we also go to individuals and institutions. We go to the churches, religious organizations, to actually talk to them and also recruit and get donors.
And the responses?
And the responses, I must say, it's been fair, even though we would have wished it should be more, because what we actually want to look forward for now is that at least a lot of pressure will be on us by people calling on us to come for blood, and for which we are hoping to get people to.
Well, so there's this misconceptions regarding blood donation, and what are some of these going forward? What is a plan, for the blood bank?
Yes, we realize that those misconceptions were born out of the fact that people are actually ignorant about the blood donation process. So the aspect of fear, we try to address it wherever we have the opportunity to talk to people, to know that it's nothing worrisome or fearful to be a blood donor. And most at times too, people think probably they don't have enough, so we try to do education. So probably the key word is education, education, and education. So at every available time or opportunity we get, we try to educate people to see blood donation as a civic responsibility, as a normal day thing that you can do, and you are okay, and you will also be contributing to the health of the nation.
You have a very, I have been to your facility, and it's a very beautiful, very nice facility. I'd like to find out from you how often people voluntarily, come there, to donate blood.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, we have one of the ultramodern facilities in the system, state-of-the-art building, where we expect people to walk in.
But that's not the case.
But that's not the case. In fact, on the average, we have about 5 people on a daily basis walking in to do the donation. And we would have wished probably if we could be even getting about 50 people on the average daily to actually walk in to donate blood, and which we are actually working towards. So we are trying to put in place various measures to make the whole blood donation thing attractive in the sense that people should actually know that their blood actually contributes to saving lives. People should also know that in fact they are putting smiles on in the lives or on the faces of people once more by donating blood. And we actually have officers trained aside to make sure that we achieve this objective. Yeah.
Well, so we have on occasions, I know that even on 1st July, some institutions would be, doing blood donations. TB3, we are key in doing such blood donation. Yeah. How has it helped, the facility?
Well, I must say it has actually helped a lot in the sense that it has actually made blood available to save lives. It has also created awareness to a wider populace about the need and the importance of donating blood, and we hope it will continue. And I must say, over the years, at least, those drives have also, closed the gap of a sort, if I should put it that way. But I did mention, the blood is needed constantly. It's a continuum process, and we hope probably if those institutions can even consider doing it twice or thrice yearly events, so that at least we can actually fill in the gaps well.
Thanks so much for talking to us on this particular issue. It's a national call, and we hope that a lot of people will join in. I have been speaking with David Ahiadro, and he is the Acting Donor Services Management Manager of Ghana National Blood Service. Thanks for your time. Let's do other stories. And next is medical note, and we continue our discussion on some danger signs to look out for during pregnancy.
So everything we are doing for you in your antenatal care, for the screening aspect of it, is picking the issues and then giving interventions to prevent. And also have other interventions like deworming, preventing anemia. So we give you dewormer. Hookworm can suck the blood of the pregnant woman. I mean, for all of us, when you have worms, it can reduce your blood level. And then we have, when it comes to malaria, what happens is that the immunity of a pregnant woman is low. So when he gets malaria, it's something else. It can kill her. So we give them drugs every month to prevent malaria. And then we give them bed nets. And then what will happen is that when you have malaria too, it can affect the baby because the parasites like the placenta. There's a lot of blood in the placenta, and it affects the growth of the baby. So, and then we also do counseling to teach you what to do and know what to do. So that's the screening, that's the intervention. The assessment is we checking your BP all the time, checking the growth of the baby, assessing you from head to toe to know whether you haven't gotten any danger sign of complications of pregnancy. You see. So that's the normal antenatal care that we do. But there are other things that we also do, like the pregnancy school, where we teach you basic things like sex in pregnancy, how to take care of yourself, when you have a baby, what to do. So we basically build your capacity to know how your body is changing, to pick the danger signs before it becomes complicated, and also prepare you to prepare for your baby. And so every pregnant woman is mandatory that you go for antenatal care.
And fall armyworm have invaded 140 hectares of maize farms belonging to the National Service Scheme. This comes on the back of recent invasion of armyworms on thousands of farmlands across the country.
The National Service Scheme introduced the agricultural model to involve the youth in agriculture. Here at the Dawenya Maize Farm, 140 hectares of the crop planted this year has suffered infestation from fall armyworms. Although the farmland has been sprayed several times to get rid of the worms, the crops are yet to fully recover from the infestation.
This time we actually applied insecticides to curb the menace, but you could see that the presence of the fall armyworm are more, that we need to seriously attack it from land preparation.
Acting Director of the National Service Scheme, Mustafa Yusuf, urged the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to come up with solutions to the growing invasion of the fall armyworm.
Most of the farmers that we are helping with this planting for food and jobs, their farms are almost wiped up with this armyworm issue. So we are appealing to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to at least help these farmers.
He hinted the scheme intends to recultivate farms across the country in order to contribute towards government's Planting for Food and Jobs program.
The Ghana National Service Scheme will deploy 2,000 personnel to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture this year as trainers of trainees to the agricultural mob. The personnel after the training will be employed by the scheme to train personnel who will be deployed under the agricultural module.
The 2,000 personnel will be trained by extension officers at the Ministry of Agriculture at the ministry to work on farms belonging to the Ghana National Service Scheme. Some maize and livestock farms are currently being run under the scheme's agricultural model. The scheme has put measures in place to extend its farms to 15 across the country this year, with the subsequent expansion to a farm each in every district of the country. This initiative would go a long way to reduce the growing number of unemployed youth as they engage in farming.
Each district is going to receive 10 service personnel to support the various MMDAs and the agric directors in all the districts to help make this planting for food and jobs a success.
The scheme also plans to partner with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to train personnel to give them skills to engage in future agriculture. Meanwhile, the service has put on hold the Voluntary National Service Scheme, which allows personnel to reapply for another posting after they complete their mandatory service.
The scheme used to have the voluntary scheme, where you are given opportunity to be re-engaged, to do at least a year or two voluntary service. But because of budgetary constraint, we've not been able to sustain this laudable initiative.
Residents of Azizanya and environs led by the chief priests of the area have invoked the wrath of the sea gods and other deities against practitioners of light fishing in the area. Here's a report by Peter Kwao Adato.
We invoke the spirit of our ancestors, Togbi Asuma, Togbi Be, Togbi Nibla, Togbi Afram, Densu, Ajirawa and Klamo to rise and support us in this cause.
Led by the chief priest, the people of Azizanya invoke the wrath of the sea gods and other deities in their lands against persons engaged in illegal fishing activities. The chief priest particularly petitioned the gods to capsize the boats of illegal fishers. He insisted there is the need to protect the environment to preserve nature. One after the other, the leaders of various fisher folk took their turns to take oaths, inciting the gods to fight illegal fishermen within their territories.
We call on all the gods of our land and of the sea to bear us witness, so they can deal with anyone who flouts the rules.
Whilst the rituals were ongoing, it was reported that some illegal fishers had gone to lodge a complaint against the chief priest and the people. This prompted the priests to abandon the rituals and march onto the police station to present their petition and explain the rationale behind the action.
Light fishing is destroying the fishes in the water. If you are not caught, then you are free to go back in peace. But from today, we are going to deal ruthlessly with all those who use crude means in our territorial waters.
The fast depletion of Ghana's fish stock on light fishing and other illegal fishing practices. The Wednesday event followed persistent complaints and calls to stop light fishing.
Well, this is still Midday Live. Stay with us. We have more news coming up after this. Now to some business stories, and discussions are rife for existing mining laws to be amended to block the loopholes which is inuring to the benefit of our operations. According to the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister, stakeholder consultation subject to the amendment procedures expected to commence soon.
The fight to end illegal mining in the country has been highly commended. To industry players, efforts so far have provided a welcoming atmosphere for their operations.
The government is about to set up rules and regulations which will enable the small-scale miners to form cooperatives and do it in an orderly fashion so that we don't have what we see today.
The efforts to stop illegal mining have, however, been fraught with challenges inhibiting the effective enforcement of these actions. Various factors account for this. Key among them is the laxity in mining regulations.
The law says that you can have mining support services as an activity. And what we've realized is that the foreign element in the small-scale mining industry come in as mining support service providers. Because when they say they are mining support services, then to you, it looks like they are not the miners.
This remains windows of escape of the people involved in illegal mining, hence the need to amend existing laws to block these lapses.
We need to amend our law for all gold that is mined here to pass through a central point. Even we would have to look at, if possible, even the large-scale ones. Why don't they refine their gold here?
The Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Benito Owusu-Bill, who is also a Member of Parliament, indicated consultations were still ongoing to initiate amendment processes through the existing laws. He said the assessment and fact-finding tour of various legal mining sites was put on hold following the unfortunate death of Major Mahama, sounding a warning to recalcitrant illegal miners.
Illegal miners out there, be aware we are coming again. We've not rested the program at all. Very soon, our drones that we've made so much noise about would also be in. The military, they're going to set up a task force that is going to be in place for a whole year.
The minister was speaking on the sidelines of a program.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Midday Live here on TV3. My name is Anako Jafra with a sports update. Let's get into the details. Now, Ghana defender Baba Rahman has returned to field training 6 months after suffering a career-threatening injury while on duty with the Black Stars at the 2017 Nations Cup. The defender touched the green turf for the first time since January at Chelsea's Cobham training complex with the team's physical trainer while most of his colleagues are on holidays. The 22-year-old defender will now have to work on his recovery and stamina, having been out since January. His return is timely since Chelsea boss Antonio Conte has asked that the player be included in the team that is set for pre-season in the United States in July. To some more other news here, Unistar Academy have recently produced players for their various age limits national teams. The latest product is Black Stars' new defender Lumo Agbenyanu, who featured in Ghana's game against Ethiopia. Having toured the facility in Accra, chairman of Unistar Academy Ernest Kufuor told TV3 Sports he is delighted with the performance of Lumo.
The emergence of top stars from the local football academy in Ghana has become a talking point for most football enthusiasts. The likes of Raphael Jamina, Ebenezer Ofori, Lumo Agbenyanu are the new Black Star darling boys. We are here at Unistar Academy where Lumo Agbenyanu is a graduate to find out more how the player was nurtured.
We have very quality coaches and occasionally we play tournaments. Lumo came here, we brought him from actually from Plains here. And he's a very good boy, very disciplined, very hardworking. So I'm not surprised that he's gotten to that level. Tepete, he actually is a poly student, you know, so education-wise, he's intelligent and You know, also discipline. They don't play with their game. In fact, here, the coaches are strict on them because football all boils down to discipline. If you're not disciplined, you cannot play football. So it's actually the discipline that has taken them to that level. You know, he has a great future. Yeah. I don't know, you saw him play at the Kumasi Sports Stadium. He made football, what you call football made simple. He never lost, you know, a ball. So I see a lot of quality in him. And fortunately for him, he had a big platform outside. He played in the UEFA Championship to FC Porto. So he has been exposed. So I'm sure playing this level, I think it's normal for him. You feel so great, especially when you're at the stadium. And the people around you who don't know you say, hey, this boy is a good player. And I'll be proud to say, I train him. That's all what the enjoyment that we get when you see them play.
I started coaching Lumo when he was 14 years. I'm not surprised that Lumo is playing in the national team because I know what the boy can do since day one.
TV3's Aneke Amankwa with that special report. Now let's bring you the fixtures for games to expect this weekend in the MTN FA Cup. And as you can see on your screens, Burkum Chelsea will be up against Bichim United as an all-Premier League clash in the FA Cup. Wasama United will welcome Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Young Wise will take on Accra Hearts of Folk, and Midas Professionals will take on league leaders Wafa in the FA Cup, and Mediama SC take on Elmina Sharks. And as we build up to the 2018 FIFA World Cup, what is to set the stage as the Confederations Cup? It will start in Russia, and here are some of the exciting fixtures to expect as far as the tournament is concerned. Russia, host, will begin their campaign against New Zealand on June 18. Portugal, Euro 2016 champions, will take on Mexico from the CONCACAF region. Cameroon, who are 2017 champions, will take on Chile, who were Copa America champions, and then Australia will take on Germany. And that is the starting list for games to expect in the Confederations Cup. To boxing now, with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor announcing that they will face off in August. UFC president Daniel White says anything is possible for McGregor in his Vegas fight against Mayweather. McGregor appears to be facing Mission Impossible, a first boxing contest against a man who is one of the greatest fighters of all time.
And this is the reason why we would even consider doing this fight. You know, I've been in the fight game for a long time, and take all the knowledge and all the, you know, break it down, all the analytics and all the things that go into this fight. When two people get in a ring or an octagon and start throwing punches, anything is possible. Floyd Mayweather is 40 years old. He hasn't fought in over 2 years. Traditionally, he has a little trouble with southpaws. Conor McGregor is 28 years old, much bigger than Floyd Mayweather, has been very active, and has knockout power in both hands. The question is, in a 12-round fight, can Conor McGregor touch Floyd Mayweather? I think he can, and if he does, he will hurt Floyd.
Let's do international news now.
U.S. destroyer ship has collided with a merchant vessel off the coast of Japan, with 7 U.S. Navy crew members reported missing. The destroyer collided with a container ship about 56 nautical miles southwest of Yokosuka. Among the injured is the commanding officer, Commodore Bryce Benson, who was taken to hospital by helicopter. 2 other sailors were flown to hospital by helicopter for treatment for lacerations and bruises, said the U.S. 7th Fleet via Twitter. The area where the collision took place is extremely busy, with ships heading in and out of Tokyo Bay. The USS Fitzgerald is one of the most advanced warships in the world, with highly sophisticated radars systems. There will now be a lot of questions about why its crew failed to avoid collision with a 200-meter-long container ship. The ACS Crystal container ship sustained lighter damage to the port bow. Cuba government has denounced U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to roll back on policy changes towards the island nation. Florida, President Trump said he was reimposing certain travel and trade restrictions eased by the Obama administration, condemning a completely one-sided deal. But he's not reversing key diplomatic and commercial ties. Announcing the changes on Friday, he cited human rights concerns, saying doing a deal with the brutal Castro government was terrible and misguided.
And to entertainment news now. The 2017 Salah Fest, an annual music festival for the people of Nima and its surrounding communities, have been launched. The event, which is credited for assembling and entertaining thousands of Muslims after the Ramadan, will be on June 26. Nana Somwa Edu Jima's report.
Salafest is the main entertainment package for Muslims in Nima, Mamobi, Newtown and surrounding areas. The show will see a lot of fun activities, including a musical showdown, which usually showcases talents from the neighborhood. The hip life group VVIP, who trace their roots from the Nima community, will headline performance in the show.
As usual, VVIP, we are in charge of entertainment. And so that is exactly what we are going to do, provide entertainment. This year, we have an amazing selection of people who will come and entertain us. It's going to be another successful show.
Last year's Salafest was almost marred by tensions between the camp of Shatawale and VVIP. VVIP had issues with Shatawale, who was to perform the same day at the same venue. Shatawale later cancelled his show. The Nima District Police has promised security measures to safeguard life and property.
And on that note, we wrap up on Midday Live. Thanks so much for watching. We are so grateful. My name is AC Benewanyami. Do stay tuned. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Coming up next is Hot Issues.